Okay, so now that we have our first program set up and we have compiled it to a class, we can now execute it. So let's go into plugins and set that up. We're going to use our npp exec again, and we have to set up the Java execute command. So instead of the Java compile here, I'm going to click this drop down box and I'm select temporary script, and we're going to write a temporary script and then save it just like before. Now the fun part is that most of the script that we're going to use is exactly what we wrote before with some slight changes. So the big one, all the stuff is the same. We're going to save the file. We're going to change the current directory. We're going to tell Notepad++ where Java is, but instead of Java C, we're just going to use regular Java, which is the executor, the thing that runs your file. So it's the actual Java virtual machine is now going to run your bytecode. And then instead of file name in here, we are now going to use the command name part. And I don't exactly know what that command means, and we don't really have to care about it. All you have to know is that this says where Java is and tells it to run the current program that we're on. It's like my dad, you just have to accept it. You don't need to understand it. So once that is done, we can click OK, and that should run our program. If it doesn't run, just hit F6 and click OK again, and make sure that it runs your program. And I get the nice hello world output here, and that is wonderful. I'm so happy that my program runs. So now I'm going to go back into the execute, and I'm going to take this temporary script that we have, and I'm going to save it, and I'm going to call it in all caps Java execute. And then I'm going to save that. So now I have both of those. So I have an execute and a compile. And so now that we have our first program complete, there's a couple things you want to understand about print statements. First of all of your print statements look like this, and the bare bones of any program that you're going to write looks like this. You have the public class, and everything in that class is contained within these brackets. And you don't have to understand any of that yet. You just have to know that you have to type this stuff for now. It's going to take us a couple of weeks before we can get into that explanation. Then you have to set up what's called the main method, and you just hit public static void main. You type all this stuff exactly. I've actually posted it on the website, so you can just read it and type it in. Again, you don't have to super understand it unless you want to. You can research it on the web. We're going to go over it later once we get a little bit more understanding of what we're doing. So the other thing is we have these print statements, and they all look exactly the same. They all start with system out print line, and they have whatever your message is in quotes that you want to output. And the other thing that you want to understand about the Java virtual machine is it will go through your code step by step and run each bit of code line by line. So if I typed another print statement here, and I can go to hit F6, and I will compile that, and I'll hit F6 again, and now it will execute. You can see it says hello world and then hello again, just as I wrote it here. Now your assignment from here on out for lab 1 is going to be to create some ASCII art with these print statements, and you're going to research that and find out what it is in a minute. But in order to do it properly, you're probably going to need to understand escape characters in Java, and I'm going to go over that a little bit with you. So escape characters in Java are special characters that have a special meaning, and if you put them into print statements, a lot of times they will not print out properly or not give you the visual result that you wanted because they have their own special functions, whether they're in a print statement or not. So just as an example, let's say I wanted to do this, and I have a piece of ASCII art that requires me to type in a few quotes. So let's say I do that, and these quotes are to tell me that I have a print statement, but these quotes in here, I want to actually get printed. Well, Java just thinks that there's more print statement there, that there's another string there that it wants me to print. So when I go to, I'll just hit F6. I don't know why I'm doing that. So let's go compile. It'll say not a statement. So it will give me an error because I have too many quotes in here and it just thinks I have a bunch of strings. What it wants me to do is this. So if I want these to actually print out, I can actually escape them with a backslash. So each one of these that I want to actually print out, use a backslash, and then I'll do the same thing again. F6, we're going to Java compile, and then F6 again, and we're going to execute, and then those quotes print out just fine. So you're going to run into a couple of things like that in your journey creating ASCII art, and basically just deal with them with an extra backslash on whatever it is you're creating. Please let me know if you need help, and that does it for your first lesson in Java programming. Good luck with your labs.